Hello, everybody. It's Marla at Twinstrology. Welcome back. Checking in to talk about the kind of intense week we have ahead. There's a lot of planetary shifts happening. We have Juno crossing Sirius right now. Then tomorrow on the 17th, we have a new moon in Cancer as well as the nodal axis shifting into new signs. On the 22nd, we have Venus going retrograde and the sun shifting into the sign of Leo. And on the 23rd, we have Chiron going retrograde. So, one thing that we can probably expect this week is that our emotions are likely to run the gamut with all of these planetary shifts. Let's start with the energy of Juno crossing Sirius. As you're all aware by now, when a planet or asteroid crosses Sirius, it's bringing in activations for us. And I wasn't even aware actually until that Juno was crossing until today when I looked at the chart. But yesterday, I was seeing light codes coming in, these beautiful, like deep golden codes. And these codes were going right down into our DNA and activating our DNA. So, also this week, you could be feeling tired, a little bit fuzzy headed, not quite with it because of the codes that are coming in. So, if at all possible, just give yourself a break and take it easy. But these codes are doing two things. First of all, there's a piece of this that relates to our authenticity. And by authenticity, I mean embodiment of your true soul self. And the other piece is that this shift is bringing in adjustments in our energetic field and how that relates with our twin. So there's something opening up in the energy fields of twin souls so that their energies are more aligned, more open, and more expansive to each other. I have been getting, for a while that like telepathy is increasing. I think telepathy is increasing in a lot of different ways. It's increasing with each other. It's increasing with the collective. In fact, like these days, it's like there not a day goes by that I don't um, think something or get some kind of information, and then it shows up through someone else, like usually on the same day. But with these shifts of Juno, the telepathy is likely to be expanding between twin souls as well. Because of that, though, because we're going through some changes, where you're sitting right now, if you're feeling a bit kind of disconnected from your person, that's probably nothing. It's probably part of the upgrades that are happening right now. And with the 777 portal too, I wrote an article about how our energy fields were being upgraded. So if you didn't get a chance to read that, um, you can find that on my website or linked through YouTube. And that just goes into more details about the shift. And that energetic shift is just continuing right now, and Juno is adding to it. One of the things that could be brought up because of the activations are old relationship templates. And again, that's going to go right along with the shifting of the nodal axis and any areas of resistance that you have to union might be brought up as well. And so you could be having like some kind of revelation about maybe your own resistance. And I have been seeing that happening in people that I'm working with. Um, they're understanding like, oh, I was doing this and I didn't even realize that I was blocking my twin, or I've been blocking my union by doing this. So energetically, though, I feel the focus right now is on the shift of the nodal axis, and the north node is going to be shifting from Taurus, where it's been for over a year now, into Aries. And the South Node, which was in Scorpio, is going to be shifting into Libra. And that South Node in Scorpio has been, a very intense transit because we're dealing with a lot of past life shadow work when the South Node is in Scorpio. And so with the shift, the North Node will be in Aries until January of 2025. Now, as I spoke about a few months ago, Mars and Venus and the dances that they've been doing, as well as Mars and Venus being the rulers of the nodal axis, has been helping to bring balance into the masculine and feminine energies. So, Mars, as I said, was ruling the South Node in Scorpio. And so Mars, or our masculine energy, was healing a lot of old issues related to alternate timelines. And especially those issues that related to power and needing to witness and clear areas of not being empowered. Venus, on the other hand, was in Taurus, and so the feminine energy was working on breakthroughs around issues of codependency as well as financial stability. But even when we're dealing with the North Node, which is our direction of growth, we're still dealing with alternate timeline energy. And so with Venus ruling Taurus, we were dealing with trauma that we were trying to heal from alternate timelines. I talked about this at the Aries new moon eclipse because those eclipses in Aries and Taurus earlier in the year were also being ruled by Mars and Venus. And we're going to have this again in the fall. But as I said, they're flipping right now. So now Venus is going to be ruling the South Node as it travels through Libra, and Mars is going to be ruling the North Node as it travels through Aries. Now, we also have Venus going retrograde in a couple of days, and so it's a very interesting time for Venus to be going retrograde because she's also going from rulership of the North Node to the South Node. And I feel like part of the healing of Venus retrograde is that the feminine energy and the feminine energy in all of us is going to be challenged on that issue of codependency. So there's been a lot of breakthroughs for people within the codependency issue. But now that the South Node is going into Libra, which has a lot to do with codependency, you might find that that comes up again somewhere in your life, has like an opportunity to handle it in a new way. So that could come up anytime during the South Node in Libra transit, but I do feel like with Venus retrograde, most people are going to have something like that come up. And it's a way of helping us integrate all the lessons that we've been going through with that North Node in Taurus transit. So also with Venus retrograde, I think the spotlight is really going to be on creativity and manifestation. But also with the South Node now moving into Libra, it's going to bring in the addition of collaboration with others because Libra rules relationships of all kinds. And we need to have collaboration with others in order to get our projects going. But it will be tempting to fall back into old areas of codependency, especially with anything that relates to authority figures or around family as we kick off this transit. So I feel like with Venus going retrograde, there's going to be a lot of inspiration and ideas preparing to take shape. And then, yeah, as you go to either materialize that or you go to take that to the next level, let's say you've already materialized something, but now in order to get it out there to the public, you need to collaborate. Something could happen where there's something in the dynamic of the people that you're collaborating with where you might feel like you're falling into that old pattern of being disempowered and codependent or wanting to people please or something like that. So just watch out for that. But now Mars is taking the lead as the North Node goes into Aries. And the masculine are now going to start embodying more power after all that South Node in Scorpio work. We can't worry right now about other people's judgments as we start working towards our mission, or for the masculine as they release these karmic cycles. This is going to be triggered right now, especially with the new moon, which is in a T square with the North and South Node and with Pluto. And Pluto is over there representing authority figures in Capricorn. And that's going to be pulling up any shadow around the cardinal sign energy, which is Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. And those planets, the cardinal energies, I shouldn't say planets, they're signs, they need to balance out the relationship between the self and others. We've got Aries, which is the self, Cancer represents the family, Libra represents our relationship to other people, and Capricorn represents our relationship to authority figures and our relationship to the more public space, where the sign of Cancer, as I said, represents our family, but also our more private life. Capricorn represents that public space, so how we present ourselves. This is where we're needing to find balance and to be empowered. So we're not letting, the family or other people's opinions or those we deem in authority stop us from that embodiment of our true self and stepping out of our comfort zone in whatever way you're being called. And as I said, for the feminine, this is mostly stepping into some new aspect of your mission. And for those that are more embodying the masculine energy, that involves like finally making some breakthroughs when it comes to the karmic situations that have held you imprisoned and in this state of mind of being a victim to those karmic issues. Now, with this Aries energy coming in, it's time to stop being a victim and become empowered and take back control. So, this is where you are putting into practice your ability to follow your path on your terms, yet tempered with love and compassion. Because you need love and compassion for self and for others as we go through this. So other people might judge you, but so what? No one needs to understand your path except for you. And others people's validation is not required. But there's also no need to get angry with other people who maybe don't understand your path, or to get triggered, or to let others create doubt in you. So this is that balance. This is the balance that I'm, also talking about between the masculine and feminine. It's not just how it relates with you and your partner, but how you're becoming balanced so that you can relate better to, the whole external world, and it's making you stronger inside. Venus retrograde in Leo will bring clarity on your creative endeavors, even if you don't feel ready to fully start, moving on those endeavors yet. You'll need to align your creativity with healing alternative realities where you were persecuted, judged, or humiliated because of your creative expression. Venus retrograde in Leo and the Cancer new moon is a time to invite your inner child out to play. Free those parts of yourself in order to create without boundaries. But there's going to be tests for sure, especially with Chiron retrograde. And Chiron is going retrograde in Aries and making a trine to Mercury and Lilith at the same time. While that's happening, Venus is going to be, squaring Uranus as well. And so this is kind of activating energetically those alternate timelines. As I always say, some of you are going to be conscious of these timelines, some of you won't, but it won't matter because it's going to happen. It's going to come through you anyways. But if you're watchful of your energy and your emotions, your dreams, the signs, you're going to get kind of that inner guidance about what these alternate timelines could be representing. But as I said, it's probably going to do with that persecution, judgment, humiliation, but also, of course, separation as well. I should say that Lilith and Mercury will also be square to Uranus. And so this that transit can bring about a lot of healing, but at the same time, things have to be like brought up to the surface in order to be seen and then healed and reintegrated. I am seeing how a lot of the feminine energies out there are coming into a really nice balanced state. And of course, this transit is not over, especially with Venus going retrograde. But as I'm working with people one on one, I'm really seeing how the feminine is healing that separation wound by finding this balance between the love, keeping the heart open, wanting to hold space for the masculine energy, but at the same time, being willing to speak up to the masculine energy about what they need. And this is this is an important shift because I think that, especially for those of you that have maybe been on the journey for a longer time, you probably had times where you weren't always speaking your truth to the masculine because maybe you were afraid that you were going to trigger them or that they were going to run away, or you didn't know how they would take it. And that was limiting your voice. But now, because you've broken through a lot of the codependency issues, you're more willing to speak your truth and to say, look, I want to create a balance with you. I want to hold space for you to heal, but I also need you to respect me and to hold space while I heal as well. And that's really what is needed to create this balance. So it is shifting and it's going to continue to shift, but maybe that will give you all listening some ideas about how to gauge where you are on your own journey. But yeah, like I was saying about working with other people in collaboration or other people judging you, it's not about coming back angry. It's not about getting angry at the masculine, about getting defensive and putting barriers up to the masculine, but it's about just saying, I love you, but I love myself too. And this is what I need from you. And I think that's something that the divine masculine, we're talking about the higher energy, not necessarily what your 3D person is acting like, has been waiting for the feminine to reach this shift, or is waiting. Because, as I said, this is not over yet, but it's a major aspect of healing the separation wound. Because it's like you're not necessarily afraid of separation anymore. And this also has a lot to do with healing the relationship with God. And if you are trusting God, then you're not necessarily fearing the separation, because you know that this is up to God, and God will arrange the perfect time and circumstances. So also the rulers of the nodes, right? Mars and Venus, they're in a conjunction right now, but they're preparing to separate. Venus is in the sign of Leo, but Mars is in the sign of Virgo. And we touched on this Venus and Leo energy, but for Mars in Virgo, and right now Mars is opposing Saturn as well, then the masculine in all of us is having to face issues of shame, guilt, martyrdom, blocks, limitations, and karma. But with Saturn being in Pisces, whilst Saturn can really be like harsh limits, I feel like Saturn in Pisces is much softer. And so instead of creating those hard blocks with the Mars energy right now, it's more about Saturn helping the masculine energy to heal these karmic patterns and to come to a place of relaxation with all the barriers. And a lot of the barriers are self imposed, especially for the masculine. Because it relates to the shame and guilt and the martyrdom, and I've got to take care of everybody, and I've got to be the knight in shining armor. And a lot of those embodying the masculine, they can put a lot of other people first and not themselves. So there needs to be this softness brought in to these ideas for the masculine, and letting those ideas go. Letting go of the guilt, letting go of things that we feel shameful about, not needing to be the martyr anymore. And to stop focusing on pleasing everybody else and focusing on what makes them, or I should say, what makes us happy, which is going to be that South Node in Libra, North Node in Aries transit. So it will be, in process for a while. All right, I'm going to end it there, guys. Thank you so much for listening. I hope it resonated with all of you. If you would like a personal reading, you can visit my website. I will link it below. Sending you all a lot of love, and I'll speak to you again soon.